today with is like, no one wants that like super serious knife salesperson, right? Cool, like making that joke, you know, laughing, being okay with making mistakes. Some of you guys have seen me make phone calls or seen me give talks or seen me do an info session before, and you know that like John, I talked about weird things, right? Like eyelashes, scrunchies, right? Eyelashes look like they're little bugs and freak me out. Yeah, cool. So I want to remind you guys, okay? Recommendations is not something you ask for, it's something you earn. I'll write that down. Recommendations is not something you ask for, it's something you earn. Okay? And I think you guys are all sitting in this room right now because you want to earn things in your life, not be handed things in life. Right? Cool. You know, we're going to teach you guys, and for most of you guys have been here. I know Danielle, you're joining us for the first time. Congratulations. Like it's kind of Daniela and Danielle. Okay, we have two. Yeah, she was.
You can call me Danny.
Okay, Danny, gotcha. Cool. Danny, Johnny. I'm just kidding. That's Johnny. All right, cool. Never mind. For Eva. Okay, Brooklyn, come down. All right, but guys, recommendations are not something, or you earn recommendations. Cool. All right, like we're gonna teach you how to give a professional presentation and how to professionally network and market yourself. All right. And so when I was going through my pushes, when I was going through my sales competitions, guys, you know, I felt like this pressure. All right, but pressure's a privilege. But I also felt like, okay, like I'm going to be doing more demos in these 18 days than I have done basically the entire month or the entire, of my Cutco career. Right. So guess what? I probably need people to call. How cool would it be, guys, to have Mrs. Jones introduce you to her friends, but not just like send a simple text message, actually have her help book appointments for you. Right. So what does that mean? You're making less phone calls. You're making less time. You're sitting there less time on the phone, hoping that someone, right, picks up the phone, right? Now, I'm very proud of you. Raise your hand if you've made a phone call today so far, right? Give yourself a big pat on the back. Give yourself, like, guys, that's not easy. It's not, right? Cool, but we can make things a little bit more simple. But just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Okay, so I have a couple things that are going to really help you guys on maximizing your recommendations and help Mrs. Jones book demos for you. Okay. Everyone, by the way, real quick, Josh, if you could put that link I texted you in the chat, not texted, put in the Zoom. Everyone go to new browser, you go to tinyurl.com, / and it's recos 2023, right? tinyurl.com / recos RECOS 2023. And it's going to bring you to this PowerPoint. All right. tinyurl.com / recos 2023. Recos 2023.
Can I do something really fast?
Yeah.
I was going to say this in the panel later that we're no longer having. So real quick, he's going to go. One of the things that I want to point out to everyone, because as I've been doing skills checks with some people this week, getting ready for the push, I noticed that a lot of people were missing this. And I'm going to go over it when I go through goals, like how to put it all together. But there's 3 parts when asking for recommendations, like 3 different parts when you ask for the recs. Like number 1 is you need to do the approach, which we're he's going to go through real quick. But like, do you ask properly with the VIA, right? Once you ask, and at the end of the approach, it says, hey, Miss Susie, let me know, take your time on this. This is the most important thing. And you say, let me know before you click submit, because I have a way you can get free Cutco. You guys all with me? Like, that's in your approach. That's step 1. Do not brainstorm at all. Shut your mouth. You ask and you let them go. They might give you 3, they might give you 7, they might give you 27. It doesn't matter. You ask and you shut up and you say, you work on your stuff. Cool. Then when they go, okay, I'm done. Then you say, thank you so much. And you thank them for whatever they gave you. Oh, thank you so much for being a sponsor. Like, thank you for those 13 people. Miss Susie, you are actually 7 away from becoming my sponsor. And the second thing is we're going to brainstorm now. And I'm going to show you guys with my slide, like how I do that. Okay. But you go, oh, I didn't let you know that. And you're going to go back to certain things and you're going to brainstorm people you want to meet, neighborhoods you want to be in, and like help. And you'll normally get at least 5 to 7 more names, sometimes 15, 20, 30 more names when you do this, by the way. And then once they finish that, once you finish reading all the questions, like the brainstorming questions, then the last step is, and Miss Susie, who do you know that won't buy, but they're super nice like you? I'm like, if they're a nice mom in the house, I would love to meet them. Cool. So just, I want to make sure that as you're going to approach you're about like, that's a 3-step process that I've seen being missed when people are asking for recs. So ask, shut up, brainstorm, people you want to meet, Then, hey, and who do you know who won't buy? And I'll review that later. And then once you've gotten your recs, I mean, he's gonna take it from here. But I want to make sure, because that's something I've observed like 6 different times. And I was like, and when you actually do that properly, you're gonna get so many more names just doing that. Okay. So anyway, that's not this talk. That's how to get people to put demos for you. But I just wanted to do that.
Cool. All right. So thank you, Miss Cathy. So oh yeah, have you guys pulled out. So my suggestion for you guys after this, not right now, is you have the goal slides. I worked on these with patients. I worked on this with Selene. Patients got 269 recommendations on our last demo, guys. Cool, right? Cool. Pretty neat. We kind of worked on this as well. All right, and I got to learn from the best. I really, really did. So I'm gonna start out by literally doing that portion of the recommendations for you guys. If you're on Zoom, like maybe you get out your phone, you go to voice memo, you record. You guys can do that here as well. But like I want you to notice like 2 or 3 things that I do possibly differently than you guys. All right. So if you haven't already, pull up your recommendation script as well. All you need, guys, for this talk is literally that PowerPoint, because it has all the notes in there, so you don't really need to take notes. Right? I mean, you can if you want. And also your recommendation script. Cool. Because I want this to be more of like, okay, like you can see it, you can hear it. I think you guys all are going to learn a little bit quicker that way. So go ahead and pull up your recommendation script, wherever it is. Does anyone need that emailed to them or pulled up? Okay.
I have the physical copy.
Oh, perfect. There we go. Do you need a boss man? Brooke, can you send it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay. It's the advanced recos, guys, VIA approach. It starts with like, well, you guys know, how did you like my demo? Cool. You don't have it either? Okay. How are you guys asking for X?
I memorized it.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't, where did you memorize it from?
I'm looking slides like the actual.
Okay. All right. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. I thought you guys all had this memorized. I'm going to just put it up here and we'll send it out later. I want to stick and move. Okay. Cool. So just watch, guys. I want you guys to follow along and watch. Cool. All right. Hey, Johnny, don't worry about it now. Time out. Danielle or Danny, just don't worry about it right now. Cool. We'll get into you guys here in a second. All right. I'm sorry. I thought everyone just already had that. My apologies. So it says, I'm going to use Keenan. You're sitting right here in front of me, buddy. Cool. You mean a customer? Mr. Keenan, how did you like my demo?
That's pretty good.
Okay. Actually, pause. Guys, get recommendations before you check them out. I'm going to say that again. Ask for recommendations before you check them out. Cool. So if Keenan says yes to the homemaker, high five, Keenan. Congratulations. You're going to love your Cutco. Or I write it up. Let's look at gifts and accessories. By the way, do you guys entertain or host family occasions? Oh, you do? Awesome. Let me call my manager, see what kind of bundles or packages we have available. Great. You're going to call. Cool. All right. That's how you usually do it, right? Instead of before, like, let me call my manager, see what kind of bundles or packages we have available. By the way, Keenan, how'd you like my demo? Great. Awesome. Can you go ahead? By the way, thank you so much, Mr. Keenan and Mrs. Keenan. I know you guys are very busy. You have 3 little kids. It's the middle of summer. You could literally be doing anything in the world right now. Seriously, I'm sure like on your schedule 6 months ago, you did not have a knife appointment, all right, with John. All right. But the fact that you took time out of your day to spend with me to help me get one step closer to my goals. I can't wait for you guys to get your Cutco. By the way, you're going to love this stuff. Like, it doesn't come with Band-Aids, so make sure. All right. Don't be like, oh, just get my arm here. All right, cool. But I'm not doing it just for the knives. Like, you're going to love Cutco. It's amazing. Like my grandmother or godmother, she's had it since the 80s. But the reason I'm working here is because I want to run my own business one day. And I know that, I'm getting a degree right now at Fordham University, but to go alongside my degree, when I'm really using this as a stepping stone to help me gain communication skills, presentation skills, marketing. I have a very rigorous, but also competitive career field. Right. And I know that working at Chick-fil-A or Whataburger or, even working on campus and volunteering isn't really going to set myself apart to what I want to accomplish. Right. And so I'm working so hard right now in this big sales competition. Again, I want to thank both of you guys so much for taking the time to see my presentation. If you can actually go ahead and pull out your cell phone and answer that third question about my product knowledge for me. Guys, I want you all looking up here. Don't look at me. All right. You guys can look at me since I'm talking to you. All right. And you, by the way, and answer that third question about my product knowledge for me. And there's no need to make me sound better than I really am. I want to get real feedback so I can keep improving. Just let me know when you're finished before when you're finished answering that question so I can kind of explain my sponsorship. All right, cool. And then they're like, okay, great, they're done. What did you notice I did there though? Before I even asked them for anything, what did I do? I thanked them. If you're like I mentioned earlier, guys, you don't ask for recommendations, you earn them. And one way you earn things is by showing appreciation. Right? So if I'm going to ask them, even if it's small as that answering a little question, I'm still going to think back at them. Because I want them not to like spike like them saying nicer things about me. What I want them to, again, thank you for answering the question. Thank you for doing this, right? All moms and dad, like Kathy said earlier, guys, all they get asked is, when's dinner ready? Did you pick up this from the grocery store? Right? Is my laundry done? Right? Hey, mom, why didn't you remind me about this? It's like, I got like, are you serious? Right? That's all they hear. So when they hear thank you, again, you set yourself apart. That's how you earn people's business, right? And it says, okay, do you happen to remember that $150 sponsorship? Right? It's like, kind of, sort of, maybe, I don't know. Great. Well, there's one more very important part, and here's where you can really help me out. I get paid every time I show Cutco, but I can only show it to people I've been personally recommended to. All right. So I'm really trying to keep my schedule full in order to hit my goals. Bring back up the competition you're about to embark on. By the way, Mrs. Jones, right? As I mentioned, I'm trying to do as many appointments as possible in these next 18 days. I have a very scary goal of doing 55 presentations in 18 days. Mr. Keenan, I've never done 55 presentations in a month, and I'm going to try to do it in half a month. So I'm a little nervous, but again, I'm working really hard. It's the biggest sales competition. I'm going after national recognition. I'm going after a scholarship. And I know if I meet with 55 amazing individuals, I know I'm going to be able to give myself the best chance to hit that goal. Re-enroll them in your goals. So the first thing is thank them, then ask, then re-enroll them again. Because guess what you're about to do? You're about to ask for something again. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. And so what I need you to do is go through your contacts and just jot down the first 200 to 300 people that come to mind. Haha, just kidding. Also, when I've been skills checking you guys, all y'all say, just kidding, 20 to 30 is fine. If they don't like freak out by that, don't even say that. That's all I got. That's all. Like, Patience, customer felt so bad she couldn't get to 300. Why? She was like, hey, just write down the first 200 to 300 people. Guys, it's so easy now. All they hit is, right? Like, how long does it take you to go through 200 like TikToks? Probably not that long. It's even quicker for them. That's a lot. I don't know. I don't have TikTok, but anyway. All right. Actually, the app you download it is designed to be a huge time saver for both of us on this part. It allows you to send me introductions straight through the app. So anyone you recommend me to automatically syncs with my phone. That way you don't have to take the time, like type them all out, Mr. Keenan, and email them to me. All right. This is much easier. And of course, Keenan, I'll be the only person to see the contacts that you send me. Not my manager, right? Not my best friend, not my mom, not my dad, not the CEO, me. Cool. All right, so on the bottom of the screen, you're going to click the share button. Do you see that button, Mr. Keenan? Guys, literally hold up your phone. It's like monkey see, monkey do. That's why you smile and nod when you ask for the order. Cool. All right. It's like, hey, do you see that button? They're like, yes, I see that button. Cool. They're not like, oh, I can't think of anyone. It's like, yeah, Miss Jones, your customers aren't on your ceiling. Cool. So you click the share button and click OK to grant access. And then it lets you select those 100 people or 200 people, whatever number you say. All right. Lets you select those 100 people that you want to refer me to. Okay, in this part, I'd like you to check off everyone you think might be nice enough to see me. Not necessarily people you think would buy. Miss Jones, when I go to Lululemon, I don't call my best friend and say, hey, I just found some awesome leggings. All right, they're a youth large. No, I'm just kidding. All right, that's a funny joke, guys. Wow. All right, I'm short. But can I buy them? My friends would look at me and be like, why are you calling me to buy? It's your money, right? And I'm sure they don't call you when you go to when they go to Lululemon, right, Jackie, and say, hey, Jackie, I bought some new leggings. Can I buy these? It's like, yeah, why not? Like, why would you call me? You don't need my approval, right? Again, people who are just nice like you, and it's okay if they live out of state, so I can do everything online anyway. So 2 big things here, guys. One, I bring up, I'm the only person who's going to see these contacts, Mr. Jones. Cool. That avoids the, oh, well, I want to talk to them first, or I don't feel comfortable doing that, or whatever it might be. Now, you still might get that, right? Nothing's perfect, but I want to reaffirm to them, I'm the only one who's going to see these contacts. Cool. Also, when you're talking about people who are nice, right? Not just people you think would buy. You got to flip the switch, guys. Cool? Because guess what? They're only thinking about people who would buy Cutco, who would buy nice, right? Does that make sense? You want to flip the switch of, hey, I'm looking for just nice people, right? I always throw in the little joke, hey, mean people love Cutco too, Mr. Jones, right? Cool, but I don't want to supply the world with more mean people who have sharp, pointy things. I want to supply people with nice, sharp. I'm just kidding, Mr. Jones, right? So as those are 2 really big things here. And by the way, here's how the sponsorship works. And you guys obviously know how to do that. All right, I'm not going to take time for that. Check off as many nice soccer moms and football dads as you can. And just let me know when you're finished. Before Mr. Keenan, you click the share button at the bottom because I have a way you can earn some free Cutco. And also take as much time as you need on this because it's the most important part. And I don't mind waiting. I actually got a place. I got to call my manager and see what kind of bundles or packages we even have available. So guys, like, this is to also avoid, I haven't even written their order up. I haven't even offered them bundle or packages. I haven't even upsold. She is not walking away and saying, I don't have time. I'll do recos later. I can't send a head up text. I haven't even had her check out yet. Right? Even if it's a customizing option. Hey, pick 5. Hey, no problem, Mr. Jones. While I work on these prices, how'd you like my dinner? great. You go and put your cell phone, and there's one more very important part, right? You just like go right into your record. Like before you give them kind of like their final deal, right? You ask for recos first. This is why it's so important to have your recommendation approach memorized, right? Because you can literally just say it word for word, right? You have more confidence. You're gonna be, let me find my script, Danielle. Okay, come on. You know, you just like boom, it's right off the top of your head. What's up?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I introduced my customer rep app at the beginning of my presentation, at the end of my about me slides, and I make them download it and I say, like, if you like me enough, it's a free way to help me out. And that's been really working for me because sometimes people run out of time at the end and don't want to give them to me. And if they already have the app, and later I say, like, at the end of my presentation, like, hey, do you remember the app I made you download? And then I go into my recommendations approach, and that's been really working for me. I really think that was good.
So what's different than this?
Well, I just make them download it at the beginning.
Yeah, they download at the beginning.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because this is saying the third question. So they've already answered the first two questions.
They answered it when I got
Yeah, they answer the first two questions of were you on time and like were you professional and courteous when booking the demo, right? So they've already downloaded the app on slide 3. That doesn't change. So I think what you're saying is what we're doing right here. So that's why it's
All
working
right,
so well.
yeah,
No, you're good.
kind of confusing. Sorry.
So no, it's okay. So that's why it says third question. I don't know where it says third question. It's like there. Cool. Third question. Cool. So they're not downloading it right here. I'm just saying go ahead and pull out your cell phone and just answer that question in the My Cutco Rep. Cool. Now, this is really big, guys. Cool. So I'm sorry for kind of bouncing all over the place here. But when Keenan tells me, like I'm writing up his order, I'm calling Claudia, right? I'm calling Jossie, and I'm like, hey, like what bundles or packages we have available? She's doing recommendations, right? What I am not done. I wait for her to be done. This is a time, if you're doing it in person, guys, vacuum their house, clean their dishes, take out their trash, mow the lawn, right? Miss Terry Ely gave me 167 recommendations, right? I spent 4 hours at her house. Cool. I would have played FIFA with her kids. I didn't mow her grass, but I vacuumed her house, right? I cleaned her dishes. I unloaded the dishwasher. Guys, I wanted her to not do anything. I wanted to look busy. Look busy. Cool. Right? Get them the best deal. Cool. You can do the whole, if you're in person, oh, Miss Jones, like I'm gonna get you the best deal. High five them while you're on the phone with us managers. Cool. All right, but take your time. Don't let them feel rushed. Cool. All right. Because I bet a lot of you guys have customers who feel like are kind of rushing out of the demo because you aren't necessarily following your approach word for word. So you're kind of stumbling. It kind of sounds rushed. You're a little bit unconfident, right? And when we do that, there's a lot of uncertainty there. Cool. Right. So that's why I do it in the middle. And then let's say Keenan, pick a number 1 through 10. 7. Oh, Keenan. So I'm done waiting, or he's done waiting after the customer says they're finished. She said 7. High 7. Heck yes. Thank you. All right. So real quick, Mr. Keenan, can you go ahead and I can't see them if you guys are doing it through the app. Not trying to get too technical. You can't see them yet. They haven't hit share yet. So what do? I'm saying, okay, Keenan, can you go ahead and real quick, just like read off their I gotta go over the list. And I asked 4 questions. How do you know these people, Keenan? Cool. Are they family members? Are they neighbors? Are they coworkers? Okay, cool. Who has a really hard name to pronounce? Oh, Ezekiel. It starts with an I, not an E. Okay, gotcha. I'll remember that. All right. Who on here is not married? By the way, okay. It's a great question, guys. In my pushes, I've never called someone who's not married. Right? Cool. It's just but because I know them already. And if I forgot to ask, I Facebook stalked them. All right, but like, who's not married? Okay, Steve's not married yet. It's okay, Steve. I'll see you at the bachelor party, buddy. Cool. If I was your son, Keaton, and you were in a big sales competition, who would you have me go see first? Okay, great. And then here's, guys, where you bring up, and I realize I'm not sharing my screen on Zoom, so that's my fault. Cool. Here's where you bring up this. I don't know how to share my screen on Zoom. Okay. If you could do that, Josie, that'd be great. Cool. All right. So if I was your son or daughter, you would have me go see Joey. Awesome. Can you read this to me real quick, Mrs. Like, how do you contact Joey? Do you contact him like text or you call him? Oh, you call him? Can you read that to me? And this is what I did for Selene. And it simply says, hi, I'm here with a nice student named Selene. She's studying engineering at Texas A&M. She is working towards a scholarship by showing Cutco, and she can even earn college credit. She gets paid to show it, and there's no obligation to buy. Would you be willing to help her out? Cool. If she says yes, all right, or Joey says yes on the phone, all right, great. That is my first call. I'm calling him while I'm on Zoom. Or, I mean, if you're on Zoom, guys, kind of hard to like hold the phone up. All right, if you're in person, just hand the phone over. Does that make sense? Right? but you need to have this set up already. That's why I gave you guys the slides. So you can edit it, right? You can change the, Selene, obviously not all your names for Selene and things like that, but show it to her. You're showing your goal slides, guys, at the beginning of the demo. Show your goal slides at the end of the demo. And that's why I have these 3. And Jossie, if you can, but yes, and that's why it has the PR on it, booking up more demos. Like, hey, by the way, Keenan and Miss Jackie, if you're able to book me, help me schedule like 2 or 3 more appointments, I can actually give you that free PR. And guess what I have not done yet, guys? I haven't ran up the order. So I can just throw in a PR. It's like 20 bonus points. It cost me like $3, but she just booked me 3 demos with her top 3 people. I think it's worth it. I didn't have to make a phone call. Right? I even kind of talked Mrs. Jones into them. Hey, by the way, like, you guys do text them or call them? Oh, we just call. Great. Like, they'd probably rather talk to you right now than me, right? Do you think you can give them a phone call real quick? I'd much rather, but I don't like just calling random people that don't know. I'm giving them a heads up. So do you mind just asking them real quick? I'm working super hard to, stay on track of hitting my goals for 5 appointments a week, right? As the marketplace rewards preparation, Jacob Shelton, guys, he did $56,000. I think $56,000 last push. He did 24 appointments. Well, now he had some large orders, but he not only did he do this, guys. Josh, if you can go back a slide, and this is what Kathy's also going to talk about, and this is the fun part of the demo, guys. One more. Thank you, Jossie. This is Selene's. This is people that she wants to meet. Cool? Oh, oops. There we go. This is people that Selene wants to meet. Cool? All right. I can't name all these people. Catherine Banks right now. She's the president of Texas A&M. Cool. All right. That's some doctor, right? That's Serena Williams. That's Oprah. That's Ellen. Right? Cool. But having this up while you're writing the order, while you say, hey, take as much time as you need, Keenan and Jackie, and I don't mind waiting. This is the most important part. By the way, do you know any of these people? Like, I don't really ask that until like she rebuttals and says, hey, I know 7 people, and then I go over thought joggers. But is this up on your screen while she's thinking of people? You don't have to say it. She's looking at this. The marketplace again rewards preparation. Cool? Because you guys share goals at the beginning, just share them at the end and use the visual aids as well. Right? So let's recap. Cool? All right, back to the approach itself. And Jossie, thank you, Jossie. You can stop sharing your screen. All right. I rethanked them before I asked them, even do the simplest thing, guys, of answering a question on the app. Right? Then I retie them into my goals after I asked them, hey, can you just answer the 3rd question on my programming knowledge? Perfect. Okay. And tell them how hard I work. I give them a concrete number. Like, hey, I'm going after 20 appointments, 15 appointments, 10 appointments, 50 appointments this week, whatever your number is. Cool? Right? So they kind of understand why you're asking for so many people. Cool? If I was a teacher and I just said, hey, everyone write a paper, and I left the room, everyone would write a different page paper because there's no clarity. What are you looking for? Well, hey, I'm trying to do 25 appointments this week, so I probably need, Mrs. Jones, more than 25 numbers. Right? Cool? So have them download the app. Again, you're not looking for people who just think buy, right? I'm looking for just nice people like you, Mrs. Jones. All right. I'm the only person who can see the contacts that you send me. Okay. And then as soon as he gives me, or as soon as she gives me 5, 10, 15, whatever, before I ask for more, personally, I go over that list with them. Cool? Because you're always going to, one, that shows that you actually genuinely care about them. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't ask for more. I'm not like, hey, give me 3 more. Hey, Jackie, I'm like, hey, by the way, thank you. How do you know these people? What's your relation with them? Like, who's married? Who's not married? Right? When's the best time to reach them? Ooh, I'd write that question down. I forgot to say that. Write that question down. Ask Mrs. Jones when the best time to call that person is. Right? Why would we make the hardest part of the job even harder if we don't know a time to call them? It's kind of crazy. We do that with PRs. Like, hey, is it better to text your friends in the morning? Yeah. Right? Just ask him, like, you know your friends better than I do. Keenan was like, morning or evening better? Oh, morning? Perfect. Oh, they're a nurse all day? Perfect. Right? 12 on, 12 off? I can do that. All right? So how do you know them? When's the best time to call them? All right? Any weird names? I've had so many customers who have very different names, guys, and I'm like, I want to be able to pronounce their name. Like Kathy said, it's kind of awkward if you mispronounce her last name. She will hang up on you. Right? Hey, like, what are they? And what's cool is like someone, hey, just call them Tony. Their name's like Antonio or something like that. Hey, is this Mr. Tony? He knows only his friends call him that. And you just called him that. So it's like, oh, yeah, this is Tony. Who's this? Right? Oh, hey, this is John Riddell. Your friend Rob told me to give you a call about something I'm working on for school. Do you have a quick minute? Like, oh, yeah, I don't know if he told you. And then you just go into your phone approach. Right? Cool? And then the last one, if I was your son or daughter, who would you have me go see first? Like if you were in a big competition, who would you have me go see first? Very simple. Great. You like call them or text them. How do you communicate with them? Great. And then that's when you would again bring up the hi Leslie. Leslie hopped up there. I haven't seen Leslie in a while. All right. That's when you bring this up. Cool. So that's how you have Mrs. Jones book demos for you. Does that make sense? So tonight, guys, I don't know if you guys have demos, but before your next demo, to the best of my ability, I would add at least 1 or 2 of these slides. Cool. This slide right here is how Mrs. Jones can book demos for you, incentivize the peeler. Or if you know, like they like the, I don't know, ice cream scoop, give them the ice cream scoop on their order for free. Cool. All right. But hey, if you don't, and have your standards high, don't do it for a sponsor. At least I always say 30 recs for sure that you've like talked about, or at least 3 demos that you tell people. Cool. All right. Let's not give away everything for free. This is Sonny's as well. This is your demo goal. Cool. Re-enrolling. I mean, yours can be different, but it's very important to have a thermometer. And I definitely agree with Kathy, guys, having some sort of grid, right? And then you can just type Mrs. Jones' name in as you're talking to her. Cool. And then visual proof is so important, guys. Even if you're like, John, I don't have that many sponsors. Well, if your mom or dad, guys, gave you 10 or 15, or grandma gave you 10 or 15, that was like part of your initial list, right? I put my sisters down. My sister gave me 10 of her friends, right? I was like, okay, and I just contacted her friends' parents, right? So no one in here doesn't have a sponsor. You guys all at least had 10 name or numbers. And if you need to write, just write Kathy's name down. Cool? Does that make sense? But visual proof is so important. All right. Then of course, who do you know that blank? Make sense? Guys, I've heard in a lot of I struggled with this at first too. Like, oh, my customer doesn't have time for recommendations. I would, as crazy as I would much rather get 100 recommendations, sell $1,000 worth of Cutco. Yeah. So before you close them out on a $1,000 order, ask for recommendations. Cool? Because that's the gas to your vehicle. And like Mike said, guys, don't worry about being perfect. I would have your approach memorized. You're going to just sound more confident, kind of sound like you know what you're doing. Right? I don't know about you guys, but if my friend's like, hey, do you want to go see a movie? I'm like, yeah, sure. What movie? I don't know. Probably not going to do it. Right? Or like, I think it's an action flick movie. Wrong. I don't really know. It's like, okay, I'm sold. Right? Yeah, let's go. We don't even know what we're walking into. Cool. But if like, oh, it's this person's in it, it's this long, like you have more info, you feel more confident, then yeah, absolutely. But it depends on what movie it is. My mom was like, hey, my mom was going to drive up to watch Barbie movie with my sister and my godmother. We'll see. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do it. But anyway, yes. So before I dive into the last 2 minutes, any questions on that, guys? Yes.
So clarification, excuse me, on the slides.
Mm-hmm.
So first one, when you ask them like initially and like you're not saying anything, is it just so the thank you slide before you?
Yeah, I don't. You
right?
can,
I mean,
or you can have like I don't think that just a photo
like
of you
towards the end, right? Like when you like kind of reading the rag.
Yeah. I always just I'll have this slide up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Cool.
the next one would be like the brainstorm. It's like who do you
Correct.
want?
This is like my waiting slide, right?
Okay.
Well, I haven't asked. Okay, cool. Yeah. So like this slide's just kind of like I haven't asked for more. This is kind of just helping her thought jog. But then like Kathy's gonna go over like how you really dive in deep and like thought jog. I just want to talk about how you use this, right? To have Mr. Jones book up demos for you. Cool. But yes. Maybe just photo you. Just thank you. Right? Very simple. Any other questions?
And you said about 3 appointments set to give them a free.
I would say about at least 3. That's my goal. Hey, Miss Jones, heck yeah. Woohoo, 2 more to go. 2 more to go. She's like, I the only thing I do 1 more. Just be your best. I mean, it's your CPO. All right, cool. I would just like have high standards. Cool. Drop down. If she doesn't do 3, she does 2. Miss Jones, I'll give you a vector high five. All right, that's your free gift. All right, here's a high five. Cool. Anyone? Any other questions? That was a good question. Okay, the last, and I know this is we're gonna beat this into y'all's brains, and I do apologize. All right, but if she can't like get to all of them, let's say like, hey, you got 50 recommendations, and you can like you just don't want to spend time to qualify all 50 of them. Cool. That's why it's like, hey, who are your best 5? Who are your top 10? But make sure, keep it light, keep it fun. Cool. And I was actually talking to Danielle about this. When you have your customer text her friends, right, for you. Make sure one, that text is ready to go. Right? Don't be like, oh yeah, let me find that message. Okay, I think, hold up, wait, go back to your manager text. Like, make sure you have the marketplace rewards preparation, guys. Make sure you have a note in your phone that has that text pre-made to go. Right? So you can always just go to your notes, copy, paste, boom. That's number one. Number two is make it fun. Right? As she's doing it. By the way, like, I know you just sent that text. Who did you send that to? Okay, like, because you get the three-way text, guys. Cool. Right? If she's doing the three-way text, great. Hey Johnny, who's this person? Oh, neighbor, perfect. Who's this person? Who's this person? Who's this person? Right? If she's doing the three-way text, if you're just texting, like, if she's just texting them kind of on her own, you got to get those names of at least her top 10. Cool. All right. And then I think it's most important, top 10, like, who would you have me go see first? And then anyone not married. I don't want to waste my time during the push. Right? Control your, you can see that non-married, like, I mean, I would never assume if you're getting a lot of recos, but those are just my two things. Cool. Recommendations is fun though. It's the funnest part. It is literally basic. I thought of it as a game. Miss Cathy told me to take one Rex personally. No one gives you recommendations. They're basically telling you to your face, I don't trust or like you. It's one of the two of those. It's like, I don't trust you with my friends, or I don't like you enough to tell other people about you. As soon as she told me that, I was like, dang, because I was not going to get a recommendation when I first started. I didn't follow the approach. I actually forgot to ask for recommendations. I would like make a sound like, woohoo, yeah, let's go, eat pineapple, and then bye. Right? That's what I just forgot. Right? I was just so excited. Cool. But then when I flip the switch of like, I need it's again, want to use the language that Mike taught us, but like, it's not that I need recommendations. That's why I'm showing up to the demo. Cool. Because every conversation I have, I want people to, how do people leave the conversation or leave your appointment? How do they feel about you? They feel good, right? They're like, oh man, I kind of hope this person doesn't reach out to these people, right? Or like, I kind of hope that, like, I don't know, like, we'll see how these go. Right? Or they excited, like, man, I can't wait, Rob, for you. Like, I can't wait for all these people to meet you, Rob. I can't wait for you to be able to do exactly what you did for me. And it's not, again, not about the sale. Cool. All right. It's about you and your journey and your goal and what you're working towards. Cool. That's how they should feel. But I can't teach you that. Cathy can't teach you that. Mike can't teach you that. That's you. So take ownership of recommendations. That's why I love doing demos, guys. I start every demo with talking about Mrs. Jones, getting to know her. I end every demo talking about myself and where I'm going. Cool? Does that make sense? It's like a sandwich. You start and end with the best. Cool? The middle is just the middle. All right? What's consistent about a sandwich is you got 2 pieces of bread. Cool? Everyone puts different stuff in it. Some of you guys put tuna salad in your sandwich. Wow. All right, cool. There's no, yeah, weird. But it's okay. Cool? If you are a big fan of tuna salad, I'm sorry. Make sense? Kaden like literally blends up tuna and just drinks it. Sorry, Kaden, I missed you. All right, any questions? I don't know. He's just like, I gotta get my protein in, bro. It's just weird. All right, and then yeah. So that's all I had.
Well, I want to make sure we role play like. So I forgot to give you this document. I'm gonna go ahead and share it on the screen right now, and I want to.
Is it the how to have Mrs. Jones book more demos?
Yeah, so this is everyone see this? No. How come I'm sharing and you can't see it up there?
Because I don't have Zoom up there.
Yeah.
I have
Huh?
the document right here. I can put it on the screen. Or I'll
Okay.
just drag this.
So this right here, always having more of the best appointments. This is, so this builds right off of everything John's been talking about right now. So how this, so once you've, so he talked about getting tips with Rex, all the stuff in there, qualifying your Rex, who likes nice things, all the stuff, if, who are the top people. But then this is what I want to have. We're gonna right now match up and we're gonna move around the room and we're gonna role play. Okay. So once they tell you the top people, then I always said, oh my goodness, Miss Jones, if those are your top people, I'm like, I would love to meet them. I'm like, is there any way you can help me get in touch with those 2 to 3 people or 5 to 7, whatever you ask for? That way they know, that way, like they're expecting my call. One, I just feel like it's way more professional when people know I'm calling versus catching them out of the blue. And second, so many people don't pick up numbers they don't know. And if those are your top picks, I would love to meet them, right? So just that verbiage of asking for that. And then, he just showed you guys what to say, what not to say, right? Stay busy, high five, and you guys can always get free stuff to get more. But this was my bread and butter, and this came out of having to, so I was actually part of a test group that, actually back in 2003, we couldn't call referrals anymore. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if you want me to go in the store.
yeah, like
the
a
sole
new
store.
law passed and
Yeah.
it wasn't possible. So
The
I
do
was
not
part,
call list. Yeah.
yeah, I was part of the, well, at that time was the CSP group, but it was called FSM Elite. And so they taught us, like, a lot of people were lost in the business. It was kind of like you learn this or you had no business because we couldn't call leads anymore. And so we had to, by default, learn how to do this. And then once it changed back, it just became part of our program. But it's like one of the best things in the world because you always have the customers booking appointments for you. So when you leave a demo, you have one or two new ones or more, like, lined up, you know?
They're excited to
or
see you. Their friends like just
yeah, or you have 3 to 5 people who said, yeah, tell them to call me. And so when you do your 5 calls after, right? 5 calls before and after every demo, the ones you make after are those yeses. And they're like, boom, easy alley-oops, right? So I always say yeses are like ice cubes and they're most effective when used immediately. If you let an ice cube sit there too long, well, it's going to melt away. Same thing with yeses. It loses its effectiveness if you don't call right away and you wait, because then it's just another lead, another random number, versus when you call them right then, they might be like, oh, maybe that's that girl Ashley calling me, or maybe that's that guy John calling me. And so they're more apt to pick up if their friend they said, okay, cool, they're going to give you a call, right? So my goal was to talk to as many while I was there or with them. But if that couldn't happen, I was just going to call those right after the demo. So I want to role play this. So if everyone can grab this, screenshot this, whatever, just that. So you're going to ask them, if I was your son or daughter, who would you see first? And then you're going to smile really big. And you're going to tell them, you're going to say this, I would love to meet them. Is there any way you could help me get in touch with those 2 to 3 people? And just give them a call. So expecting my call. I think it's way more professional when people know I'm calling versus catching them out of the blue. And then so many people just don't pick up numbers they don't know. And if those are your top picks, I would love to meet them. And then coach them on what to say and what not to say. So we're going to stand up, move around the room. I'm going to get these guys over here, but please screenshot this and I'll make a little folder. We'll get out to everybody. You guys need to, you need to fill out the Alliance Law workshop. Like, there's just a lot of things we need to prepare. And then Sunday, we'll see you guys back here. Everyone will be here for the kickoff event. We want to make sure everyone's dressed to impress, ready to rock. We were supposed to be at the Hampton, stuff happened. And so it is what it is, but we're going to have a great kickoff event and make sure we're ready to go out and dominate as we go against, the whole nation. But we're going to see 5 divisions when we go to Austin. Like, 5 different divisions are going to be there. So we really want to represent. So let me show you guys this. And if you haven't already, you need to fill out the Alliance sheet and all of your guys' website. I'm going to send you guys a folder. All right. By tomorrow, if not late tonight, that's going to have like all the different things that you need and stuff we've gone over, to make sure you're paying attention to that and you're able to implement those things. Sound good? All right. So I want to show you guys, I made this, for, SC2, which I'll talk about after. I'm not going to go through this at this second, but I want to share my screen so you guys can see the flow of this. Okay. So I'm gonna, when I go through, I talk about my goals. I talk about Leadership Academy. You're gonna see me do this after we role play. We walk through all the stuff. We walk through our sales contest. Right now, I'm trying to really build my base for the Super Bowl next week. My goal is to have 200 new people to call by next week. And so I'll share that with you in a moment. If you end up liking me in the products, something we'll talk about at the end where you could actually sponsor my event, but really just getting ready, building momentum this week to be one of the top people. And so, if you want to, my biggest, and you can tell them, joke around with like the sales stuff. We're going to go back to that. But then here, so after I finished the sales stuff and I was like, yeah, if you want to write me a check for a couple, for 15 grand, then I'll definitely hit it. That'd be awesome. And then I'm like, I'm just kidding, but keep a lookout. Because if you see anything you need for birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, things coming up, or any holiday gifts or things for you might like, not only are you getting a heck of a product, but we've got Christmas and July specials running and stuff now too. So take advantage of me. Right. And then And then Miss Susie, this has nothing to do with, and so this is one, you must do this in the beginning, not have it hidden, because it plants the seed for referrals later. And if you don't plant the seed in the beginning, you're not going to you're not planting it. How are you going to reap the crop of it? Does that make sense? Like we have to plant the seed. So when you get to this slide, so right after the sales stuff, you're like, so Miss Susie, this right here is actually has nothing to do with sales. All right. So it's a free way to help me out, just for introducing me to nice people, like mom introduced me to you. And I'm going to tell you about that later, but here's what I'll tell you. My number one goal today is not that you buy everything, although I won't stop you if you want to. My biggest goal is actually that you love me and you enjoy the presentation, that you introduce me to everyone you know. Cool. And so I'll explain the sponsorship later today, at the end, and I'll explain more on this then. And then we talk about the give back goal and we go through there. So did everyone see what I did? I talked about here. I said, you know, sponsorship is a free way to support my business. Biggest goal today is not that you buy everything, but that you like me enough to introduce me to everyone you know. I'll tell you how to become a sponsor later. All right. And if they're friends there or anyone they know, I'm like, oh, look, there's Miss Sandra. All right. Hey, there's Miss Susie. I'm always pointing people they know. Got it? Then did you guys hear? Did I explain this? No, you're not explaining that right now, because I'm going to show you right now how to do this at the end. Okay. So you talk about that and you'll say, hey, my biggest goal is you introduce me to everyone you know. Cool. And so I'll share more on this at the end. And then lastly, Miss Susie, just so you know, if you do end up purchasing something today, not only are you supporting, helping me with my goal, but you're also helping people around the world. We do a lot to give back. My manager donates 10% of everything that the office does to help people in need. And whether that's, this hospital that her and best friends built down in Haiti. And this, over the next 3 weeks, we're really looking to build, to raise funds for solar for it, to create solar panels so that they can spend less money on electricity bills and more money on like helping people. And so we're really excited about this, and I'll show you guys how to share that. Yeah, so this is something that we're working on. And then you finish and you say, thank you for helping me towards my goals. You don't have to say that. You can just pop it up and be like, so Miss Susie, so have you ever heard, so you've never heard of cut, we go into that. I'm going to cover that after we role play in a second again. So I go through my demo. As you guys saw, I finished my demo. All right. What am I doing when I finish my demo? Oh, I had it up here. Now it disappeared. Too many things at one time. All right. Now we're going to the rec approach. Cool. And so everybody has and if you don't have it, I need to make sure everybody has your VIA recommendations approach. All right. I think I might have had it on my other. I have it here together. There we go. I was just on the wrong spreadsheet. Too many things up. All right. So this right here, let me just pull it up next to here. All right. And again, there's all these tools for social media posts, things we can be doing now. Like I'm gonna give you guys a list of stuff, and then you're gonna have homework tonight and tomorrow to start working on. Okay. But what he just popped up, if you guys are following the VIA recommendation program, what's the first thing you're doing? Make them feel like a rock star just for doing the what? Demo. All right. So at the end, I'm like, oh, so Miss Susie, how did you enjoy the presentation? And they're like, oh, it was great. I'm like, how'd you like the product? Like, oh, you did awesome. I'm like, hey, I just want to say thank you again so much for just helping me with the appointment. Like I said in the beginning, this is the most important thing. If I complete 60 appointments by the time school starts, I will hit my goal. And it'll really allow me to focus on school and be able to work part-time and earn the income that I need to pay off school stuff, but focus on my grades, And so let me go ahead and fill this. So we made this new, thank you, Claudia, easy peasy thermometer to fill out. And all you have to do is go.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you guys see here where it says fill color? Everyone see my where my little arrow is here at the top? All right. So this guy right here, we just click that and boom, pick a color and it fills it in. Cool. So I'm like, you're one step closer. You can also put letters in there. I am not tech savvy at all, but I know that you can write in the box. So you can ask Claudia about that. So I love putting their initials. When I did mine in person, I always like mine, I'd put their initials in the box and they'd see that. And they're like, all right, awesome. And so once you go through that, they see that's where it says fill thermometer, visual of helping me with the appointment. Everyone got that? So right after I did that, then I would say, oh, Miss Susie, actually, can you grab your phone real quick? Because there's one last question to answer. And then I'll explain the sponsorship to you. And so they fill in that last question, right? And then they tell you, okay, I'm done, right? Everyone with me? And so now we start going through here. And I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm like, so Miss Susie, do you remember the $150 sponsorship that I was telling you about earlier? And I pull it up just like this, showing sharing screen. All right. For those who are newer or you've been doing all over the phone, as we go into push, you guys need to be on camera. Whether you use Google Meets, you use Zoom, you're on FaceTime, but FaceTime is not going to allow you to share screen. So if you really want to level up and share your goals and have all those visuals, if you're not in person, you've got to be on camera. Okay. So Google Meets or Zoom are two easy ones. And we can help you with that if you're not sure how to use that, to make sure that you've got that down. Okay. Because it does make a difference when you can like look at them and tell them like, oh, I'm working towards this, and they see the excitement in your face. They can really tell. Okay. So right here, I'm like, okay, so do you remember that $150 sponsorship? Like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, here's where you can really help me out. So I get paid every time and we go through the approach. Everyone got it? And this is what I was saying. Step one is we go through all this. And again, here's how the sponsorship works, Miss Susie. Every 50 sponsors I get, the company gives me $150 worth of Cutco that I can use to pay for books and whatnot at school. Every 10 names someone submits gives me a sponsor. So if you submit 100, like my friend Naomi's customer did, she actually gave her 120. That would be a 12-time sponsor. My friend Eric in my office, his last customer gave him 80 referrals. I like to give real examples. And when you have your own, you'll give your own. But I'm like, Eric's customer gave him 80 referrals. Be like, so that's an 8-time sponsor. You get 55, 3, like you see my mom there, is 30 is 3 times. And even if you only get to 10, do you guys see that? Like that verbiage? And you're like, and even if you only get to 10, you still become a sponsor. And when I get all 50 sponsors, I get the $150 award. Cool. And so click off as many nice moms as you can and just let me know when you're finished before you click the share button. And Jassy, if you can go ahead and put the VIA recommendations approach in the group me's right now, because we're about to role play that so everyone has easy access. I appreciate it so much. So check off as many nice moms as you can and just let me know when you're finished before you click the share button on the bottom, because I have a way you can get some free Cutco. Cool. Take as much time in this as you need. This is the most important part. You let them go. Like I said before, that's step one. Everyone good? Nothing else. Just let them go. They might give you, hopefully it's more in the 5 to 7. If you did your job right, that's typically where they start. Cool. If they're just thinking about Cutco, it's like 2 to 3 is where you're starting, or 0, or they don't know anyone that'll buy. Right. And so whatever they give you at first, then you say, okay, awesome. So she's like, oh, I'm done. I'm like, okay, before you click submit, how many are you at so far? And they're like 6. I'm like, all right, awesome. Thank you so much for those 6 people. I'm like, now, Miss Susie, I forgot to show you this. I purposely forgot, by the way, because I want to do it at the end. I forgot to tell you this. One of my big goals this summer is to actually sell in all 50 states. And so far I've sold, and you can put stars wherever. Maybe it's just Texas, maybe you've sold somewhere else. Okay. So mark the states you've sold in. But I'm like, yeah, so if you have, and this is important, because in a lot of sales, pharmaceutical, people have like areas or regions or sectors, and they can't go out of those. That is very normal in the sales world. Everyone got that? You can sell anywhere. So sometimes they're not thinking about their sister in Virginia or their cousin in Oregon or their best friend in Idaho, because that's not your region. Does that make sense to everybody? So you need to rebring that up. So right here, I'm like, oh, by the way, Miss Susie, my goal is sell in all 50 states. I'm actually not limited by my region. And so if you have any like great friends or family that live out of state or even in other cities, I would love to meet them. And by the way, who do you know? And then you can have your own questions or you can use this. But let me tell you, this is the best 5 minutes of your whole presentation. And I would say, Miss Susie, who do you know that like knows everybody? Who do you know that's super nice? Who do you know that loves to cook? Who do you know that has expensive taste? Who do you know that entertains a lot? Who do you know that loves to shop? Who do you know that just redid their kitchen? Who do you know that gives the most to charity? Who do you know that owns a luxury car? And by the way, this is the exact pace I do it at. Cool. It takes about 5 minutes, typically, because they might stop and say something or whatever, but like it is literally the best 5 minutes you can spend. And then once I finish the last one of like, oh, and who do you know who buys really nice gifts? And they're like, oh, and I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm like, last question I have for you, Miss Susie, is who do you know that won't buy, but they're a super nice mom? I'm like, if they're a super nice mom like you, I would love to meet them. Like I said, most important goal that I have is completing these appointments. And if I hit that, if I do my, 15 appointments a week from now through August 4th, or 20 appointments a week, whatever it is that you're going for, I will hit my goal. So anyone else, a lot of times people won't put people they think won't buy because they don't want to waste my time. But honestly, if they're a nice mom in a house, house, I would love to meet them. I'm like, some buy, some don't. I'm like, but my biggest goal right now is getting to 200 plus married couples and homes to really help my competition. Cool. And guys, if you do that properly, that's how you average 20 to 30 referrals. You will never average 20 to 30 referrals if you don't go through that process. I mean, it's very rare. Like if that's like your actual average, that is a process that I learned years ago. And guys, I have trained hundreds of people over the last 21 years or 20 years on doing that. And I know it works. I know if someone does it properly, they will average over 20 referrals. It's not like a question of like, maybe they will. No, never had anyone do it properly and not average 20 plus referrals per appointment. Cool. So if something's off, it's either they don't like you, you're not enrolling them properly, which I'm going to talk about that with the goals afterwards. But if they like you, and like John said, like I literally said, I'm like, well, they don't like you. Or I'm like, you're either not asking right or they don't like you. It's one of two things, you know? I'm like, if you're following what I teach you and you ask confidently, you will get people. If you're being, sometimes you're weird when you go to ask for recs. Like you're weird because you feel weird asking them because you've taken too much of their time. I don't want to be a bother, whatever it is. And you are weird and your energy changes when you go to ask for recs. In the beginning of the presentation, you were like, oh my gosh, I know my goals and this and that, and I'm so excited and I'm working towards this. Or you have the softer version of that. And then at the end, you're like, so here's where you can really help me out. And you're like a different effing person. They're like, what happened to that girl I talked to half an hour ago? You know, like it feels weird to the customer. So of course I'm not going to give you a lot of people. This energy just shifted. I don't know what's going on. And in your head, you're like, I hope they give me people. And you're like, your energy has just shifted. And that hurts it. And I've seen that so many times. I'm like, stop being weird. I'm like, your energy. And I've recorded people before and I'm like, watch you. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Different person. I was like, that's why you didn't get Rex. Cause that's like, I'm like, I just talked to two different people. This feels kind of weird. So you should be even more excited when you go to ask for Rex. Okay. So we're going to give you guys 7 to 10 more minutes. I might stop you in 7 minutes, but I want you to go through the full asking for Recs. Got it? So everyone has the VI rec approach and you are literally going to pull up the slide and we can post a slideshow as well. You guys are all going to get this as a copy to just like build off of and do whatever the heck you want. So let me give it to the managers and we'll pop this up. If you already have your slideshow, you can have it. All right. So let me see here. Let me send it to the managers so that we have it. Let me stop the recording. Sorry.